Hello and welcome to Megawatt, where each week we give you the lowdown on the latest piece of kit from the world of technology and gadgets, plus a plethora of news, reviews, tips, tricks, and much more. Stay tuned. This week we're looking at the Casio EX-F1, and here it is. The 6 megapixel 12 times optical zoom snapper comes with a secret, and that is that it takes still shots at 60 frames a second and video at a massive 1200 frames a second, meaning it should be great for wildlife or sporting enthusiasts. Now we've come down to altitude, where Casio is launching a number of cameras that we can't tell you about, to have a play with this snapper and see whether it really works. Now there are three main shooting modes to the EX-F1. There is a standard mode, there is a HD mode for shooting high definition movies, and then there's the high speed mode, which gives you access to the 60 frames a second. To test the zoom, we're just going to shoot in the standard mode. Now this has 12 times optical zoom. We've thought what better place to test it than the landscape of London, and so we're going to take a shot. So let's take a shot of the river first. Now admittedly this is through glass, but quite a wide angle. We're now going to see if we can zoom in on that tugboat down there. Now the only thing we have to say, obviously at 12 times zoom, is that you really have to be steady with the camera. So we can now go to play mode. As you can see, that's the wide angle shot that we took. Now there's the tugboat. Now I can't, zooming in on this picture, I can't even see where the I think it's just about there. But as you can see, it certainly allows you to really get close to the action. So how does it work with a high speed? Well, let's go and test that out. Nikon have announced a batch of new compact cameras in time for Christmas, and we're here at the launch ahead of the official date to check it out and see what they're about. Top of the pile is the S610, a 10 megapixel snapper with a 4 times optical zoom and all the usual bundle of tricks, such as image stabilization, delighting, red eye fix, etc, etc. In addition to that, it has a very large 3-inch screen on the back and Wi-Fi connectivity. Now, Nikon are hoping that you'll use the Wi-Fi connectivity to upload pictures to My Picture Bank, their online imaging service. Unfortunately, you won't be able to upload it to anybody else like Flickr or any of the other multitude of online services. Although if you're in America, the chances are you probably will. Why the delay in the UK? Well, Nikon really aren't that sure. However, they haven't ruled out bringing the Flickr support to the UK in the near future, just they can't confirm anything officially. Due out in September, this is going to cost you £249, and that's the Nikon S610C. Now, the whole purpose of this camera is the 60 frames a second. So what better way to show off the technology is we've asked Stuart, who's a PGA professional, to take a shot. Now what I'm going to do is I have to hold down, halfway down the actual shutter button. That then takes 60 shots, bang, just like that. Hopefully that will capture all the information of the swing, and then we can play it back and see if it's worked. So let me get ready, and Stuart, when you're ready. Right, now instantly it's asked us whether we want to save it all. Thank you very much, Stuart. It takes a couple of seconds to save all those 60 shots. Right, now if we try and go to playback, there's our shot, so we can see it. I'm going to press play, and here we go. So I got it just as he was reaching back, and there we have it. Now, with most digital cameras, you'll try and by the time you've pressed the button, he's taken the shot, moved off halfway down the tee, especially if you were taking that with a mobile phone camera. And people like Stuart are going to hopefully use this to work out their technique, to see whether, from a golf perspective, whether they're taking the right shot or not. It shows, from a still perspective, it works pretty well. And if you imagine taking that in the field to shoot some photography of wildlife, etc., or a lion eating a zebra, this certainly might be a really good tool to take with you. If 60 frames a second in still mode isn't enough for you, the camera also offers a video mode which allows you to shoot in 1080 full HD quality. You can also shoot 720 if you wish. Now, the frame rates per second goes from 300 up to a massive 1200, although going up to 1200 does reduce the pixel count and the amount of error you get to shoot with. So we're going to shoot it at 300 because, hey, that's pretty slow in itself. And we've got some Scalextric to shoot, to see it all in slow motion. So let's see it working. So we've got some cars coming around. That should be about enough. So we save that. We can now preview that back. And here we go. So there's the car going pretty slow. It certainly wasn't going that slow. And we shot it. And it's pretty impressive. Now we might as well see what it's like at 1200. So we're going to go back into the modes. We're going to go menu, we're going to go down to high speed, we're going to set that to 1200, and let's see how we do. Let's pull out full completely. I'm going to press record. Now as you can see, that goes into widescreen mode because it's having to drop the capabilities. So there's that. Now what does that look like? So press play, quite grainy. And that is slow-mo shooting on the EX-F1. So apart from the compact cameras, Nikon has also announced the P6000, the follow-on from the P5000. Now this is interesting because apart from the 13.5 megapixel sensor, apart from the 4x optical zoom, there's a number of innovative world first, supposedly, features on the camera. The main one is actually GPS support. Yes, that's right, GPS has come out of your sat-nav and gone into your camera. We think this is probably the world's first compact camera with GPS. I know you can get them as bolt-ons, but this is actually inbuilt. And this will allow you to geotag all your photos so you can able to take them and then upload them to Flickr or Google Maps or Nikon's own online service, My Picture Bank, and work out where you were when you took them. In addition to that, there is also, tucked under the bottom, an Ethernet slot. Now, this is, again, a really interesting prospect. What this allows you to do, we'll be able to plug in an Ethernet straight into your router at home. It will talk directly to My Picture Bank and upload your photos pretty quick over the web. No worry about finding a Wi-Fi connection. Now, talking to Nikon themselves, we found out that they reckon you could also plug this into your computer. If your computer has a 3G dongle or is also connected to the Wi-Fi, then you could piggyback onto that account and then fire your photos straight onto the web without even having to find an internet connection from a traditional hole-in-the-wall element. Apart from that, it also adds RAW support, which will please digital photographers looking for something a bit less from a bridge model than they would with a DSLR. There's hot shoe support, full manual control, and overall, you can see this is certainly going to be a really good camera to go up against the Canon G9 range. And that's the Coolpix P6000. So what do we think of the EX-F1 from Casio? Well, if you're into getting 60 frames a second from your camera, this is clearly the camera for you. Although I don't really know any other cameras that do 60 frames a second when it comes to still shots. If you want a camera that does 1200 frames a second, then this is clearly the camera for you. But then I don't know many other cameras that do 1200 frames a second. And that's pretty much the story when it comes to the EX-F1. It's a great camera for what it does, but then get beyond that and you start to wonder why you'd want it. At 6 megapixels, it's not necessarily the highest in the bunch, and certainly compared to the 10 and 14 megapixel cameras that we're seeing on the market, it's not going to win out. Then there's the size. It might pack 12 times optical zoom, but it's big and it's heavy, which means that really this is a great camera for a very niche market. Now, if that's what you want, then this is going to be brilliant. For the PGA golfer who's looking to coach and train and practice on shots and show people where they've got it wrong, this is the camera he's been waiting for. But for those of us who just want to take a picture down the pub, or maybe use a 12 times optical zoom to get close to, well, probably doing some perving in their neighbour's garden, then I think you might struggle with this. That said, £649, if slow-mo or that massive frames a second is really what you want, you can't go wrong with the EX-F1. Well, that's it for this week. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Why don't you tune in next time for more news, reviews, tips, tricks, opinions, and much more. I'm Stuart Miles. This is Megawatt TV. Thanks for watching.